Every streamer, Zoom teacher, person who talks online has one big fear. You're live. The lights are set. The sound is clear. It's good. There are hundreds of people watching in the chat, and you feel like you're in the flow. And then, click, everything goes dark. The lights die, the monitor goes black, the internet cuts out, and on everyone else's screen, the spinning wheel of death. And because I've experienced it, there is panic, chaos. It's a terrible, terrible feeling. You're then scrambling to find your phone. Maybe you need to turn on a hotspot. You're trying to message the chat to explain what happened, but you've lost the momentum. Half of the audience is gone. They have other things to do. And you just feel, I don't look like a professional. I am professional. I know what I'm doing. I was ready. Everything was ready. Then this thing just happened out of the blue, and now I look like an amateur. And then the worst part maybe is that once that happens, or maybe now once you know it can happen, you have this little thought in the back of your mind every time you're live. It could happen again. That was pretty terrible, wasn't it? It's this one little thought, this little possibility, but it causes so much background anxiety, and it really shouldn't. There has to be a better way. The fix for this anxiety, in my case, is my Goldenmate UPS. What? Let me explain. By the way, I'm specifically talking about the 600 VA 360 watt Lithium UPS. Now, when I say UPS, maybe you're picturing somebody delivering the mail? Okay, well, no, there's another UPS. This UPS is Uninterruptible Power Supply, which basically means, well, uninterruptible. So there's no pause when it switches over to the battery. The power doesn't go out and then come back. That wouldn't really solve the problem. It's continuous power while still switching over to a backup battery. Now, maybe you already know what a UPS is, and you're picturing this gigantic, heavy, gray brick. You put it under your desk, you put some stuff over it to hide it, maybe your cat sits on it or something, and you don't really like how it looks, but hopefully it does the thing when you need it to do the thing, right? Hopefully. It's down there collecting dust, but, it gives me some peace of mind. Until you kind of forgot about it, and then it starts screaming at you with a high-pitched beep at 3 a.m. because the battery died. Maybe it died 2 years ago. You never really noticed because you never, maybe, really needed it. Or maybe you did need it, but it had already basically failed and only gave you 30 seconds of power, which is useless, right? The Goldenmate UPS is not that. First of all, look at it. The form factor is nice. It looks great. It looks like something you want to show off. And that, I think, matters because design matters. We create, office spaces that we sit in, streaming spaces that we want to sit in, that we want to show off, right? We want something that's designed to actually sit on your desk, right? It looks like modern tech, not outdated industrial equipment that you're hiding away, hoping that it works. So the Goldenmate looks great. It's pretty lightweight, just under 5 pounds. I'm talking about the 600 VA model. They offer quite a few different models. I have a couple of them. That's less than a quarter of the weight of those old lead acid batteries, the old style. You can pick it up with one hand, and I would pick it up with one hand if I weren't actually using it right now. I need it because I want to have peace of mind. So you can actually move it around, put it where you want it, take it between rooms. It's very portable. I mean, it's not something that you want to skateboard with, but it's very portable compared to other UPS models. I'm not an expert on this, but I do want to talk a little bit about the tech inside because that's why it's different from another UPS that you might have bought 5 years ago. It doesn't just look good. Most cheap UPS units are, as I said, lead acid batteries, which is very 90s tech. They're very heavy, they get very hot, they degrade very fast, right? You buy it, and then in 2 or 3 years, the battery's dead. And it never told you that it was slowly dying. It didn't go, oh, I'm I only have a few weeks left. He could have done that. That would have been a nice favor. Then you could have gone out and bought a Goldenmate, but it didn't. And so you had to find out the hard way. We don't want to have to do that anymore. Goldenmate, by contrast, uses lithium iron phosphate. Why does that matter? Mainly longevity. So this is rated, the 600 VA model that I'm talking about. This is rated for over 3,000 cycles. What does that mean? That means you can use it for 10 years. 10 years. What happens in 10 years? I feel like you could start a large family in 10 years. You might even have it, not a grandkid, but you could do a lot of things in 10 years. And so that is amazing peace of mind. You buy it once, you're covered for a decade. So think about that. The old style UPS units, giant paperweights, they last 3 years, maybe. This one looks great, lightweight, and lasts 10. Now, on the safety front, it's also much more stable and runs cooler. Those lead iron batteries, they can get very hot. They can leak. They can swell up if something goes wrong. Lithium iron phosphate is one of the safest lithium chemistries out there, so it doesn't have those issues. Now, charging speed, I think, is also relevant. If the power goes out and then comes back and then goes out again, that does happen a lot during thunderstorms. This recharges very quickly. So you have a gap of, hey, the power's back. Oh, but my backup power takes forever to charge. Well, too bad for you. But if it charges very quickly, then you're good to go. If the power goes out again, you have more power. And as someone who lives not in a city, but kind of in the countryside, that is extremely important for me. We deal with power outages. The power can be out for days. It has happened multiple times. It's not fun. I've gone through the pain of trying to work during a 2 or 3 day power outage, where maybe it comes back for a couple minutes and then goes out again. You shouldn't have to drive to a coffee shop just to answer a couple emails. All right, now let's talk about workflow. This model has a couple of interesting features. It's not just a backup battery. And in my opinion, if it's going to sit on my desk, it needs to kind of earn its place, if that makes sense. It needs to be useful in more than one main way, right? Not just during emergencies. I'm not going to put it on my desk if I'm not going to use it 99% of the time. So as I said, it has to earn its place. So if you look at the top, you will see a built-in 15-watt wireless charger. I want a place to put my phone near me that will actually charge my phone, and I don't want a bunch of cables running all over the place, and I really care about cable management. I don't like to charge my phone with a cable anyway because sometimes you forget it's plugged in and then you yank it and then stuff goes flying and you spill your coffee. It just feels very 90s to me. Now, the charging pad is magnetic and detachable. And I was reading some reviews on this model, and apparently, and I haven't tested this myself personally, apparently if you mount the Goldenmate unit on the wall vertically, your phone will stick to the wall. Again, I haven't tested out the magnetic strength, but I did read that in a review, and I think that's pretty thoughtful. That's pretty cool because some people will want to mount it onto the wall. But it's not just wireless charging. You also get 2 USB ports on the front, Type A and Type C, with 10 watts of total output. So you can charge multiple devices, an iPad mini, maybe some smart sunglasses. That's one of the things I need to charge. So you're not hunting for wall adapters anymore because you have one place to plug stuff in throughout the day. Another way for this thing to earn its place on your desk. And the great part is that all 6 outlets have surge protection and battery backup. I wish I had plugged my TV into this before because my TV is damaged due to a power surge that basically made a big block of the pixels on the TV slightly different than all the other pixels. But if I had had this, the surge protector, and the backup battery, my TV would be perfect. So I wish I had gotten it earlier. And because it's 6 outlets, you're not choosing which devices get protection and which don't. You don't have to make that Sophie's choice. Everything is plugged in. So everything gets both protection and battery backup. Your router, your PC, monitors, a TV, speakers, printer, all of it stays protected and powered during an outage. And that is really how it should be. Now, this is obviously a great product for streamers and people who are doing things live on the internet, especially really high stakes things, events, things like that, live on the internet. But let's look at a few other specific use cases where it could be a game changer. Let's say you work from home. If you're on Zoom calls all day with clients, any moment can be a critical moment, right? You're just getting to the call to action in a pitch, right? And just as you're about to say the important thing that's going to make the person listening to you on the Zoom call give you $600,000, the power dies. Instead, you have the Goldenmate, the power stays on, you don't drop the call, you finish your point, you get $600,000. There you go. Worth it. That's the difference between looking like a real professional who's really prepared for any situation rather than, somebody just working out of a coffee shop with bad Wi-Fi, working out of your home with the possibility of a power outage. What about people who do 3D printing? I don't personally do it, but I have a good friend who does, and I checked with my friend, and this is an issue. You're 18 hours into a complex print. Everything's going pretty well. Then the power maybe just flickers for a second. If you're not ready for that, your print, 18 hours, is dead. It could be, right? You could lose the filament. All of that time, your sanity. So don't deal with that. You need to bridge the gap. Remove that possibility. Removing the possibility of disaster. That might be a good tagline. I like that. The printer keeps running, the print finishes, and you don't have to start over. You're protected. How about games? Even if you're not recording, even if you're not streaming. Games are important, or can be if you're not just playing casually. Maybe you're trying to rank, in which case you're playing League of Legends or Valorant or whatever the kids play these days, right? There are some high stakes situations. If you're competitive at all, disconnecting from a game could mean getting penalized, maybe even, maybe getting banned, depending on the situation, right? A power outage can really impact your progress as you try to rank in a competitive gaming situation. And maybe you were smart and you got a small UPS for your gaming setup, but what about my modem? So your computer is fine, your gaming setup is fine, but your internet went out. Well, you're in the same boat now. The Goldenmate keeps everything going, including your modem, so that you can finish the match. So if you're serious about competitive gaming, it's insurance. I don't know if I need to go on, but I'm going to give one more example. Smart home hubs. So if you have a smart home setup that might include a security system, smart locks, cameras, all that stuff, lights, all that. It feels like that's kind of part of how your home works, right? And there's a lot of peace of mind in it always working. I know that from firsthand experience. And if you've had a bad experience with the power going out when you're not at home, you know how scary it can be. What's going on in my home with the power out? Are people breaking in? Is my house burning down? I mean, I don't know. You don't know. You don't have visibility. So if you're used to knowing what's going on in your home, and let's say you're not home, and your system goes offline, or lights stop working, automations stop, your security system stops, that was my experience, you've got a lot of stress. You may even, like I did, have to drive home just to make sure everything's okay. That might be a little extreme, but I think I did do that. The Goldenmate UPS keeps your smart home functional even when the power grid is down. Now, there are a lot of great features, a lot of reasons I think to get the Goldenmate UPS, but I want to go through a few reviews from real users to see how people are actually stressing this thing, actually pushing the limits in the real world. I found these on Amazon. Here's one. I fired up my favorite online game and then unplugged the power from the wall and timed how long it would last. My desktop is a 3-year-old Intel Core i7 with not one, but 3 32-inch monitors. And the Goldenmate lasted over 25 minutes powering all that gear. I could not believe it. 3 32-inch monitors plus a gaming PC, and this thing kept it all running for over 25 minutes. That's not just enough time to save your work. That's enough time to finish what you're doing. Someone else summed things up nicely by saying, this isn't just a minor upgrade. It's a complete game changer. This practically eliminates the constant dread of battery replacement that plagues older units, drastically lowering the total cost of ownership. And that has to be factored into the cost. That's the reliability that I've been talking about. Don't let some random storm or freak thing ruin your career opportunity, the big sale, the big moment in your live stream, all of these things that we need to do live online, these things that are so important in our modern daily lives, in our working lives. Don't let this kind of stuff, a power flicker, come on. Don't let it kill your flow. Do yourself a favor, check out the Goldenmate 600 VA UPS and see what real peace of mind actually feels like.